multiply out x minus 2, x plus 3, and 2x minus 1. You know how to do this, so I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to get the right answer. Three things. This item here multiplied by this item here multiplied by this item here, right? So you cannot drop any one of them, but you know that they can make things complicated, and you want to multiply things out. You cannot multiply them all out all at once because it's 2 by 2 by 2, right? 2 elements by 2 elements by 2 elements. You cannot just do them all together because it's too much, right? So what you can do is you can take this element, this one here, multiply this one first. Make sure you don't drop that, but just keep it as it is, but make it more. Multiply just the first 2 elements out, right? So you're talking about these 2 things first. Now that's just a simple FOIL, isn't it? This one, x squared. What is this? 3x. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Now, some of you made mistakes over here. Don't get confused. This is multiplying. This is not adding or subtracting. Right? Multiplying because, right? This just means multiplying. So you have to multiply. Okay? I say that as an emphasis because many of you, as I walk around, confuse yourself. Right? You're just going through the process, not even thinking through it, but you have to do that. Okay? So now, this thing right here is a direct result of these 2 things. But I haven't done anything with this, so I would just bring it back down to x minus 1. Now, some of you let the expression like this. What's wrong with this expression? Yeah.
It's simplifying.
No. That's also true. That's also true. I haven't simplified. But what's wrong with just writing it? I see several of you as I walk around. You're sloppy in your writing. What's wrong with this writing? Daniel.
It doesn't have like parentheses, right?
Why is parentheses so important? Yes. Here. Yeah, you.
So otherwise it looks like x squared plus 3x minus 2x minus 6 times. It looks like it's just minus 6.
That's right. If you don't put parentheses, it almost just feels like it's just negative 6 times this whole thing. You see what I'm saying? And some of you, because you dropped this, and then you went on to the next step and you confuse yourself. That's how mistakes happen. You go, oh, but then I did this, and then you realize the next step you confuse yourself because in the stress of things while you're taking a test, your notation matters because otherwise it confuses you, right? So you have to make sure you put parentheses. Okay, I'm breaking it down to the minute details right now. Now, the next one, right? Archer said, okay, we need to simplify this. Yes, absolutely. Because right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms on this. It's a 4 by 2. I can actually simplify this into 3 by 2, right? So I will simplify this into x squared. Now I have 3x, positive 3x, and then minus 2x. That adds up to be just 1x, right? 1x. And then minus 6, isn't it? And then I have something that I have not done, right? Over here is 2x minus 1, so it's still there. Now look at this. I write 3 lines. I line things up nicely so I don't get confused, right? I keep these portions lining up with this one initially so I don't get confused. I know what I need to do. Okay? I don't trust my brain, right? I don't trust my brain to hold everything. I trust how I write to help my brain to think clearly. Yeah? Okay, now, next one. What do I do with next? This one. What will happen next? Yes? Multiply out. Now, it's whether you go from here, here, and then here, here, and then whatever, or you go back this way, it doesn't really matter, right? As long as you touch upon every single element of it. 3 by 2, right? That means you're gonna have 6 elements showing up. So let's go ahead and just do this one, right? So x squared times 2x is 2x cubed. X squared minus x squared times -1 is negative x squared. Yep. Okay. This is the difference formula. X times 2x is 2x squared. X times -1 is minus x. And then -6. Now I always think of this as -6, right? I don't say -6. I think of this as just one element because when I multiply things out, I don't drop the negative, right? So it's -6 times 2x gives you what?
-12x.
-12x. That's right. And then -6 times -1, right? -6 is +6. Okay, so I know that this is a result of these two elements. These two elements is a result of these three elements. So I am keeping inventory of everything. I had dealt with every single part from where the problem starts, so that I can trust this. So I know that at the end, right, I have every single element correct, and all I'm doing after this is simplify, right? Combine like terms. There's only one term that has x cubed, so I just keep it as 2x cubed. I have two x squared terms. It's minus x squared plus 2x squared. That just gives you positive x squared. I have minus x minus 12x together is minus 13x. There's only one constant, 6, so I get this. You got it? How many of you got this? 5 of you. Good. So this is my polynomial. This is my polynomial. And this polynomial could be factored as x minus 2, x plus 3, and 2x minus 1, right? I start out the problem as a factor form, right, in a factor form, and I ask you to multiply out, end up with a polynomial. But today, I could have, hypothetically, I could ask you a question on the test. I could say, hey, factor 2x cubed plus x squared minus 12, 13x plus 6. I could give you a problem like this. But how do you end up with the problem from before? Does anyone know how to factor this so that it becomes that? That's the big question today. But before we can do that, we had to figure out how to divide polynomials first. Okay, you ready? Think of it this way. If P is equal to A times B times C, what is A times B equal to? Let me ask you. Just that, just a simple statement. If P is equal to A times B times C, then what's A times B? Yeah.
P over C.
P divided by P. A times B is equal to P divided by C, isn't it? I mean, maybe I'll just make it darker. P divided by C. Or you can say P divided by C. Right? I can do exactly the same thing with other topic, right? I can say, well, what's A times C? What is A times C?
P divided by B.
Is what?
P divided by B.
P divided by B, that's right. A times C is equal to P divided by B, or over B, or P divided by B. So, if that's the case, we're gonna do this problem right here. So a problem, taking a polynomial and divided by another polynomial, in this case is a binomial, taking a polynomial divided by something else, we need to learn how to divide. We know how to divide through simple division, right? We know, we know, like say, what is it, 127 divided by 4. We know how to do that. How do we do that? 127 divided by 4 by 12, and then bring this down 7, right? 7, and then 1, remainder 3, right? We know how to do that. Okay, so now this is just a polynomial, and we're doing something very similar. So this is what we do. Make sure to follow along. 2x cubed. Actually, I'm going to give myself a little bit more room. Give myself a little bit more room. 2x cubed plus x squared minus 13x plus 6. I need to divide it by x minus 2. You have to divide. So, just like numbers, right? If you take the lead term and you multiply by the number, that will give you the same as the first thing. So I'm looking at the lead term here, x, right? I'm looking at the 2x cubed right here. So I'm thinking about 2x cubed, and I'm thinking about x. So the question is, what expression do I multiply x by so that I can get 2x cubed? What can I multiply x by to get 2x cubed?
2x cubed.
What did you say?
2x squared.
2x
Squared.
squared. So you can multiply 2x squared. That's right. Because 2x squared times x is going to give you 2x cubed.
But what about the minus 2 parts?
We still have to deal with that. 2x squared still has to multiply by negative 2. So if 2x squared times negative 2, what do you end up with? Someone else, yes. Negative 4x squared. Right? Because you got one thing, but then two terms. So your result is going to have 2 terms. Right? This multiplied by x gives you 2x cubed. This times negative 2 gives you negative 4x squared. Just like,
Times negative 2.
yeah, this is x and negative 2, no?
True, but wouldn't we, but I thought we were dividing by 2. So wouldn't that be negative x squared? I mean, cubed.
No, because you're taking this multiplied by these 2 things. This times this gives you this. This times this gives you this. Okay. Draw a line down underneath. This is where it's important. Detail matters. Detail matters. You put a minus subtract here. And you put a half parenthesis over here. Why do you think I want to put half parenthesis here? Yeah.
So what do the movement negative towards?
So that I won't just think that it is -2x. But because if I write it this way, I sometimes can get confused that this minus only applies to 2x cubed, but doesn't affect the minus 4x squared. But if I do parenthesis minus and parenthesis, I'm gonna think this way, right? 2x cubed minus 2x cubed gives you 0, so that whole term drops out. But x squared minus -4x squared gives you 5x squared. Is that right?
Yes.
X squared minus -4x squared gives you positive 5x squared. So far, so good. So far, so good. Yes. Now, we're gonna bring this term down. This term is a 13x, but it's not 13x, isn't it? It's negative 13x, right? Now, question I have here is, what do I multiply x with to get 5x squared? But again, I'm dealing with the lead term, right? Always dealing with lead terms. What do we have? 5x. So I will multiply, I'll do a positive 5x. So positive 5x times x gives you 5x squared. 5x multiplied by -2 gives you -10x, isn't it? So far, so good? Yeah. Okay.
So, 5, and then, I would be, let me see, and then.
Okay, go ahead. Now, what do I do? What do you think I should do next? I mean, you always see the pattern, but what do I do next? Yeah.
Right.
Subtract. Subtract. Now again, I put another C, right? I go like that. 5x squared minus 5x squared, that term drops out. Right? -13x minus -10x is -13x plus 10x, which gives you positive 3x, isn't it? Right? So now I'm on this term, right?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, negative. -13x plus 10x, negative 3x. Now, what we have left is the 6. So you draw an arrow down, so you don't miss it. You bring a 6 here, but this is a positive 6. You put a plus there. So now you ask yourself, what term do I multiply x by to get me a lead term of -3x? -3. So -3 times x gives you -3x. -3 times -2 gives you positive 6. This drops out, I get 0 on the bottom. So that means I don't have remainder. So that means this is a very clean factor, isn't it? It's a very clean factor. So what does that mean? This means that the answer, right? First of all, I can write down the answer. The answer is 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. But I can also say this. I can also say, well, that means p of x is equal to 2. P of x, which is 2x cubed plus x squared minus 13x plus 6, is equal to 2x squared plus 5x minus 3 times this. Sorry, I'm sorry. Don't erase this. I'm just rewriting this. Give myself more room. P of x is equal to 2x cubed plus x squared minus 13x plus 6 is equal to 2x squared plus 5x minus 3 times x minus 2. Is that true? Do you see it?
And why this three again? Because I get the.
Over here, minus 3. There's minus 3 times x minus 2.
Oh,
Then you negative 3x plus 6. Now, so do you understand? The problem asks for this term divided by x minus 2. And my answer is right here. But I can also go back and say that just means that my polynomial is a factor between these two things. Right? But take a look at this. Then what is this factor? This is just a typical trinomial factor. And trinomial factor, I know that using this term, right, using the first term 2, I can do 2 and 1, right? And then this is negative 3, so I can say maybe 3 and negative 1. This will give me 6. This gives me negative 1, which is that gives me 5. So 5 is the cross term. So that means I have 2x minus 1 and x plus 3. Do we get what I'm doing here? You've seen me done this before, right? And so
What are you doing again?
I'm trying to factor this.
So it's what?
So this becomes what? This becomes 2x minus 1 times x plus 3. And then this is x minus 2. Well, isn't that just this?
Wait.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, but wait, how to factor that again, because it's basically you,
I take the first coefficient and I say, what are the two factors or two multipliers that give you 2? Very simple, 2 and 1. I have negative 3, so it could be 3 and negative 1, or 1 and negative 3, or negative 1 and 3.
and you ignore the 5 and x.
So I want to put together a combination where the cross term, when you multiply across, when you add them up, you're going to get a coefficient of the middle term. Right? So that means that ends up to be 2x minus 1, x plus 3.
Okay, got it. So you ignore the 5 in the middle.
That's right, because I need to have the cross term the same. Okay.
And then you get, let me see, you get 2x1, so 2x, minus
Yeah.
1, and x plus, or an x plus 5.
Joe, you can figure that out. Yeah. Now. You see, this is the problem that we start out with. So I'm going to give you the same problem. Two x cubed plus 2x squared. I'm sorry, 2x cubed plus x squared minus 13x plus 6 divided by 2x minus 1. So go ahead and do this problem. You have this as an example. Oh, you don't do this one now. So I got 2x cubed plus x squared minus 13x plus 6. I got 2x minus 1. Now again, this is new to everybody, right? So I give you this one example, show you the basics of the long division. We're gonna apply the same principle, same logic, right? It's a different problem, so it's gonna look different. But it's the same logic. It's the same idea. Right? The idea is what? Just like a normal division, right? Normal division, no matter how many digits you have, you can have 3 digits divided by 2 digits. You're dealing with that first digit, right? First digit. So you're dealing with in these cases, you're dealing with the first lead term, right? So you got lead term. What is to be divided is 2x cubed, right? 2x cubed. And the one that you're dividing is 2x. So you say 2x times what, right? Has a running script in your brain as you walk through this. You say, what do I multiply 2x by, right, over here, so that I can get 2x cubed? Then you will say, automatically, you will say x squared, isn't it?
Yes.
Right? When your brain is doing the question and answering, and you're constantly finding the question and constantly coming up with the answer, you're gonna begin to piecemeal the solution, right? You say, what do I multiply by 2x to get 2x cubed? The answer quickly is x squared. Okay, now if that's the case, and I put it over here, I have one term right here, I have 2 terms right here, then I will multiply this, right? X squared times 2x is 2x cubed. X squared, don't forget about the minus 1. So x squared times negative 1 is negative x squared. Okay? So now I subtract the whole thing. The lead term drops out, right? Because it's 2x cubed minus 2x cubed. Okay, we don't need to write it. But the next one, we have to be careful. X squared minus negative x squared minus negative x squared becomes plus x squared. So you have x squared plus x squared gives you how many x squared? 2x squared. 2x squared. Now, you also need to keep bringing the term down, right? Because you have to go to the next step now. Bring the negative 13x down. Then you take the lead term again. You ask yourself again, running question in my head. What do I multiply 2x by to get myself a 2x squared? Oh, I must multiply by x. And in fact, it's a positive x. I need to multiply by a positive x, right? X times 2x gives me 2x squared. And x times negative 1 gives me minus x. So then I do the subtraction again. Lead term falls off. Negative 13x minus negative x is negative 13x plus x gives me negative 12x. Then bring the last element of this polynomial down, which is positive 6. Then I ask myself the question, what do I multiply 2x by to get me negative 12x? What do I get negative 12x? Who asked that question? Negative 13x minus negative x is negative 12x. Okay. So what do I put over here? Plus 6. Oh no, negative 6 minus 6. So -6 times 2x gives me -12x. -6 times -1 gives me +6. Subtract again, my remainder is 0.
But if it's negative plus 6, wouldn't that be a -6?
Wait, no, negative 6 times -1 is +6. 6 minus 6, 0. Okay, so your answer is x squared plus x minus 6. But now I know, right? I also know that this can be written as what? 1 and 1, 3 and 2. And in fact, this is minus on this one, right? Because it's gonna have -2 plus +3, plus 3, which gives me +1, gives me the B term here. So I can say this is also equal to x plus 3, x minus 2. Whoa, these two things are just exactly the same as these two things. Right? These two things. That thing is like that. All worked out nicely. Yes?
Yes. Yeah.
One more question. If you simply get a straight up multiplication problem, that they may not have started out with complete factors like this. It is possible that when you're doing long division, that you end up with a remainder. Okay, it's possible that you end up with a remainder. If you end up with a remainder of some sort, you then will say that the answer is this plus whatever the remainder over the division, this element that you divide. Make sense? Just the same way as when we say, for example, 127 divided by 4, right? We got 12 here, and then we got 7 and 4, got 3. So 127 is equal to 31 plus 3/4, isn't it? Right? That's the answer, right? So it is possible that if you end up with a remainder in a typical long division that is not full factor, you can have a remainder, then you have to write it as an expression of this plus whatever the remainder divided by that. Okay, we'll go over that when we get back from the text invocation.